Who here heard about the darknet, the deep web, the Mariana's web, or the internet's Narnia? Cool. Who actually entered it? Nice, nice. Kinky. Basically, the core functionality of Tor, it's magical technology. It's the fact that when you send a packet from your PC to another PC over the internet, it has to go through some intermediate nodes. And there comes the problem that the intermediate nodes can see what you are trying to send to the destination. So, what is on your routing? Basically, encrypting your packages, with the number of each intermediate point. So, when your packet sticks into an intermediate point, it decrypts it, and so on and so forth until the encrypted package gets to the destination. That's why its name is onion. It's like peeling an onion and stuff. So how come we are talking about this stuff today? Basically, the idea of this project or internship came from my mentor, Stefan Tănase, who was one who allegedly told me he was one day talking with a reporter, and somehow the discussion got to the darknet and stuff like that, and the reporter was super excited, and boom, that's how the project was born. And when I saw the job ad, I was like, dude, that's so cool. Somebody in the public sector actually wants to see what's over Tor, what's on dark web, not just simply say, oh, it's bad stuff, we shouldn't enter it. So today we are going to take a journey and see what we can find on this magical land of the dark web. So let's talk a little bit about hidden services. What are hidden services? They are basically the websites that you can only access by using Tor. Their URL end in the .onion, and the magical stuff behind them is that you can actually get one by simply changing a few lines in a config file, and you get generated a private key like SSH. So if you, for example, have soon-to-be legal memes server in Romania, and some nice guys come at 6 in the morning asking you to take them down, we can just ping your friend in Australia, for example, and if he has the private key, boom, he can just put up the server again in a matter of minutes. Yeah. So let's see what we can find. We find familiar faces like Facebook, in case it's banned in our country. You also have educational websites and web hosting services, in case you don't want to dirty our hands with the technicalities between hosting a hidden service. Tor and the darknet was also used by guys like Edward Snowden. For those of you who don't know who he is the most popular terrorist from Russia, and other whistleblowers use this darknet too. For example, Chelsea Manning, who is also running her campaign here for some reason. And this is WikiLeaks, the website where all the leaks from the whistleblowers go. Or, in case you don't like WikiLeaks, some paper news also have websites over Tor, and you can leak stuff to them. But enough about that. We are also interested in what the bad guys are doing. And the bad guys are always into money and making money. But let's see how they do it, shall we? One of the first methods is the simplest and the cheesiest. All you need is a colorful unicorn and a Bitcoin address. And boom, you have a begging website. Next, we see some familiar stuff like Lotto. And in case we are bored of real life stuff and want to go full digital, we also have the possibility to 100x our Bitcoin in 24 hours, which may be a scam or may be a nice trick for some guys to launder some money, method called tumbling. We can also buy cloned cards or cash, or in case we don't like our banking system, we can always go for the gold. Now that we have enough money, we also start to become more paranoid. and we need a new identity. What better way to get a new identity than buying it from the darknet? Now that we have enough cash and a new identity, we also need swag. And what better way and what better place to buy from than the darknet? Plus, it's more cheaper this way. And now that we have money and swag and the new identity, we also want to look good. And going to the gym, eating healthy food, raw cucumbers, man, hell no. We use steroids, what the fuck. Next, we need to relax ourselves and go for the Snoop Dogg method. And now we also start thinking about our personal protection, and we need some guns. And in case we need a more approachable solution like talking to our enemies, that's also a possibility. We can also hire hackers from the darknet, because why not? As you may know or not, the categorization of colorful hats, it's outdated. And nowadays, hackers are split into 3 grades, A, B, and C, based on how many money they require and what they are doing. For example, grade C are the guys who hack Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. Grade B are the guys who hack into university and eventually help me pass physics. And grade A are the guys who probably thrown over governments, but who needs them, right? We also have these interesting guys this guy who came with the magical idea of simply cloning the web services he found. Why is that an interesting method? Because, as you may know or not, the URL looks like super random, like somebody smashed his head on the keyboard, and you can't know for sure if that website is the legitimate one or not. So this guy simply came with the idea of cloning them, putting his own Bitcoin address or Monero, stuff like that, and now he's looking for others to help him. And as we live in 2018 and have almost everything as a service, of course we have ransomware as a service. And we also have a nice-ish dashboard. Now we find some dropper script. What is that? It's a script which will be downloaded by another script, or in case you don't want to write this whole stuff, you simply download it from Tor. And what basically this does is a miner, and simply downloads the binary, replaces the SSH daemon, checks if other miners are already here, and kills them, so it can get all the juiciness of the CPU. And of course, there's some minor debug stuff, because debug is important, even when you make cryptors. And as you can see on the bottom right, this guy actually made something like 70 Monero, is quite good, actually. Now we are approaching the bottom of the bottom. And as you may know or not, the Blue Whale game was a game popular a few years ago, I guess, which led to the suicide of some kids and dark stuff like that. We also have the lowest of the lowest. This guy is saying right here, I don't know if you actually can read, but it's better that way. This guy says that he randomly found some kids on the highway on his regular routes, and he's trying to sell them because he has to go to another place, and it would be very bad if he had to dispose of them. Yeah. But enough of that. About that. You may be thinking right now, but dude, what are the authorities doing? Are they doing stuff? Are they closing them? Well, actually, sometimes they manage to do it. But enough about that. Now we got to the part of the misconfigured, the fun part. One of the worst ideas you can have in this life is to host on the same server a hidden service on Tor and a normal website on the ClearNet. And somehow, this guy managed to fuck this up so badly that he even got Cloudflare involved a few months ago. I don't even know how he managed to do that, but yeah. But now it's okay. It's legitimate to use Cloudflare. from September this year. They actually support this. Now, you may be thinking, why the fuck is the link from ClearNet right here and what's up with that get request? Well, one of the methods to de-anonymize people over the Tor is to simply go to the server-status page, which is a magical page which shows you the latest request from a few minutes ago. And as you can see, we have the client, the virtual host, and the request. From the virtual host, we can deduce the fact that, hey, maybe this guy ain't just on Tor. Maybe he is was UAS shop.ru. And how do we check that? We simply go to that website and send a very random request, random enough so we know that we did it. So if he actually shows up on the server status page of that onion, boom, we know who that is. But this method ain't always that good because we have a lot of false positives. In case you didn't know, Nanya.business ain't a real domain. And we also have a lot of false positives. But how are others doing this? How are they avoiding false positives? Very simple. They send free random requests, but actually they are not that random. They send a random named folder request, a random named PHP file request, and a random named file request. So if the server responds with 404, everything's cool. You go full deer buster on it. Else, the server is giving us false positives, and it's not good. Another example of server status guy we found was this guy who actually was trying to sell Facebook hacks, Twitter or Instagram and other social media. As you can see, he actually sold that stuff. He actually made 0.2 Bitcoin out of that. And of course, using the server status method, we found out other domains of him and his IP where he was hosting all the servers. And ironically or not, even an Apache mirror has this kind of vulnerability. But now, as good can't exist without bad and bad without good, we have these guys who sell cards at a reasonable price. And they also have a forum on which you can learn interesting stuff like crash course on getting raided, extortion made easy. So you want to be a drug lord, darknet drug lord, you get the idea. And the good part, this guy right here says that for the past few weeks he carded a few pizza places and drove around the city and gave the homeless people something to eat. So let those mixed feelings get in. And as this presentation ain't about the good and just about the good and the bad, we also have the misconfigured. Yes, that is actually them. So we found them. Yay! By using this method, we actually found something like a few hundred server status enabled. And from them, something like 100, we managed to just click on them, see the latest requests, and see who they were, like that. Simple like that, 3 seconds on each one. No fancy stuff, no collector stuff like that. And some conclusion in Geekstacks, we managed to crawl to 20,000 sites. 1 in 10 was cryptojacking, so always use the Tor browser, which deactivates the JavaScript. The deep web is actually smaller than we think, and I leave you with the question, is Tor good or bad? What do you think? In my humble opinion, it's simply a tool. It's like a hammer. You can use it to craft something or bash somebody's head in. You can also contact me on my Twitter or come talk to me later. And that was it.
Okay, Jonas, thank you so much. So we're running a very tight schedule today. So we have like 3 presentations in a row for about 15 minutes each. So I will just allow one question for the session because so I want to leave the opportunity to each guest to answer at least one question. So let's see. My colleague has one. Okay, thank you, sir.
Great, funny presentation. Now that you've
Thanks.
scared us, tell us how can we protect ourselves? How can we protect our identity on Tor?
Well, actually, you simply need to use the Tor browser, and that should do it. Unless it's a magical 0 day on you, or you actually mingle with the settings already preset, you should be safe.
Cool.
And don't enable JavaScript, just don't do it.
Okay, there's no like set of steps that you take. You like install Tor and configure it to like be protected from these types of attacks.
These types of attacks are actually just for the servers. Like you have a server, you run stuff like that, you have the vulnerability on the server. You as a guy simply just visiting the websites won't have a problem like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. So for the rest who have questions, please approach your notes.